Great. Thank you. And I appreciate your patience, Peter and Matthias, for the confusion.
That's fine.
You know, I thought I was a somewhat educated person, but apparently I'm not. Anyhow, so without much ado, our next group, Rex Croxton Collaborative Now, Transolar, Magnuson Klemenchik Associates, Bureau Bassmets, 2x4, Arup New York, Front, Jonathan Rose Companies. Thank you.
Rebuilding 2.0. Sit on the sofa. We're going to be casual. Let me first start by saying, since about 20% of you can't actually see me, I'm going to do something I've never done before, and I'm actually going to read from a script. In about 200 presentations, I've never dared to do that, but under the circumstances, I think it's warranted. PowerPoint.
Okay. Bear with me.
I can start reading from the script now. Yep, great. Currently, Finland has one of the world's largest per capita ecological footprints and faces a massive challenge in overcoming its environmental deficit. At first glance, there seems to be no problem. Finland has little population growth, and Finns are moving towards cities. However, at closer analysis, you see that migration is to suburban belts around cities, leading to sprawl. Sprawl consumes natural capital, depleting Finland's carbon sink. Meanwhile, continued improvements to building energy efficiency are simply not enough to put Finland back into ecological balance. Building energy efficiency is a relatively small factor when compared to the carbon-intensive lifestyles that accompany mass suburban migration. Finland must decide if it is willing to change its behavior to migrate toward more populated, more vital, more sustainable cities to go from low to no. Finland has a history of surmounting collective challenges with nationwide rebuilding projects. It is therefore uniquely capable of galvanizing around a new nationwide project called Rebuilding 2.0 that funnels growth and migration to make more nature, more city, and less sprawl. Rebuilding 2.0 offers a toolkit including the following 5 apparatuses. First, growth boundaries between city and nature that allow cities to become more dense and efficient while nature is protected and enhanced ecologically. Second, the transfer of development rights that work in concert with the growth boundaries to establish sender-receiver relationships for exchanging development rights between areas with ecosystem service potential and areas where urban growth is desired. Third, a comprehensive and integrated ecological balance plan that goes far beyond existing green models to steer development to the scale of buildings, sites, and even infrastructure. Fourth, a decision-making tool that capitalizes on Finland's data-rich society to provide a quantitative means of analyzing and iteratively improving population density, programmatic diversity, and low-carbon travel. Instead of a narrow-minded focus on building energy performance, Rebuilding 2.0 is the basis for a comprehensive national strategy that can put Finland back into ecological balance. However, there is a fifth tool at the scale of a building that generates more density, more diversity, more city, with immediate application to Helsinki's problems. During its first 100 years, Helsinki's perimeter block typology fostered organic and diverse development whose population increased to a vital density. Over the last 50 years, while building density has remained constant, increased floor area per inhabitant has depopulated the most urban parts of the city. Helsinkiites have fled to the suburbs for bigger, cheaper individualized homes, larger contemporary offices, and more immediate access to green space. Sustainability demands that population be re-injected into the urban core within easy reach of existing infrastructure and amenities. Although against Finland's current self-image, slender towers outperform high perimeter blocks in nearly every imaginable sustainable way. Combining the best of suburbia, sun, air, views, and even soil, and the best of urbanity, population density, and programmatic diversity, Slendy towers, widely distributed, are the next evolutionary step in the perimeter block typology, creating a new option for downtown living. So what should we do in Jätkäsaari and in Citrusite in particular? The master plan should be revised to increase population density and programmatic diversity fostered by incremental granulated development. By consolidating the planned development into 2 slender residential towers and a 2-story headquarters block that are lifted 4 stories aloft, an additional 50,000 cubic meters of fine-grained potential is created. Capped at 14 meters, this urban infill facilitates the use of lightweight, sustainable, and easily recyclable materials, and invites broader stakeholder participation by allowing for varied scale and construction methods. We call this the rebuilding. The rebuilding's residential towers convert Finland's conventional concrete construction to highly sustainable and recyclable steel construction, whose lateral stability is provided by an exoskeleton that enables easy plan reconfiguration and solar optimization. Contrary to conventional construction methods, the facades are composed of a permanent mullion chassis that supports interchangeable window and insulation cassettes to aid flexibility over time, and that can be easily replaced by new technologies. Physically and metaphorically supporting the residential towers above and the urban infill below is the rebuilding's headquarters. The headquarters is dimensioned to accommodate different and evolving work styles and company expansion, proximity, and interconnectedness. Cohesion is fostered by concentrating collective spaces and circulation within a highly transparent courtyard, thereby promoting interaction and the sharing of unique resources. The result is a plan that unites flexibility and expandability with community building and ultimately elegance. The rebuilding's last component, the urban infill, is a hybrid between building a strategy that retains conceptual coherence while fostering evolution and multiple authorship. Capable of being tuned to meet the specific and changing needs of its neighborhood, its variable scale and construction methods can absorb a diverse mix of uses, some temporary, some permanent, such as restaurants, galleries, gyms, theaters, supermarkets, even indoor play areas. Drawing from the unmet needs of its surroundings, the rebuilding's urban infill is a laboratory for testing social, cultural, and market viability for future mixed-use buildings within Helsinki and its new development areas. Should all the urban infill not be initially developed, interim public functions, or urban rooms, can anticipate amenities planned for Jätkäsaari's later phases. While the rebuilding projects a 40% reduction in energy consumption, a 50% reduction in carbon emissions, and a 65% reduction in embodied carbon, it recognizes that urbanity itself is the embodiment of sustainability. It is dense, diverse, evolving, and full of people, living and working, meeting and sleeping, growing up, and making things. This is what sustainability looks like. It's time for Finland to learn how to build cities again. Thank you.